Honda's chief engineer and project leader for the new city, Satoru Azumi, said that he was inspired by shapes that we all draw for cars, that is, as kids. In fact, kids even these days probably draw the same shapes on paper. And that is when he told his team to go and create a design that was an inspiration and a classic example of what a child's interpretation of a proper car is. So a three-box shape, that is. This is what they created, the new Honda City. And yes, it is greatly different from the City of the last generation, but the two are going to coexist in the market. This one is very different from the other one. Of course, you can see a very Civic-inspired front end, but a lot has changed. It is definitely the same platform as the previous generation model, but we are going to discuss everything that is different on this car. Come on. So, what all has changed in the new Honda City? Well, quite a lot, to be frank. You can see the exteriors. Well, the front is dominated by a very nice, big, chunky chrome element on the front. The grille is basically all that. And then you have very nice looking, very sharp looking all LED headlights. Now, in the base variant, these are not LEDs, but the moment you go up towards the VX and the ZX, they have all LED elements, and the tail lamp is also all LED. Pretty nice, in sync with what the market demands right now. Overall, the shape is not really something that you'll object to at all. In fact, the front actually looks very pleasant, and the rear, while a little bit fussy, it's not something that you're going to take an offense to. So in all, yes, it's pretty decent. Not the best or the sexiest looking car in the segment. I would still say that the Verna looks pretty impressive, and the Vento has proportions that will age in the best way possible. So the City might not really be the best looking car, but it has decent proportions. It's got a very balanced stance as such. While the platform is shared with the previous generation car, Honda has increased the track. So the car is wider by about 53 millimeters, and the wider track also helps it give a little bit of more impressive turn-in. A lot of changes on the inside. I really like the way the steering wheel has been designed. It's the perfect diameter, decent feedback as well. It's got a lot of functions on the steering wheel. So it's a multi-function, and you get all sorts of options. You get cruise control, a lot of connectivity options, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, they're all standard. So in terms of loading up the car with features, Honda has done a pretty decent job. I'm not all that taken by the quality of the plastics. Yes, they feel durable. There are no elements which strike out as sharp or something that has been like an afterthought. So in terms of fit and finish, it's pretty all right. But there are these elements over here, like, this plastic over here, the top part of the dash. These are all hard plastics, textured, but they don't really give you that rich feel. These non-textured plastics are also somewhat cheap. You have a little bit of element over here in the center console. The door panels are finished in non-textured plastic. So these are the things that don't really feel very good. But otherwise, it's a well put together cabin. What I really like is the way the instrumentation is done in front of you. Very simple, good fonts, large fonts, so you can see it very nicely. And it's laid out in a very logical way. You have a TFT right in front of you, and you get all the information that you want from a panel of this sort. If you have been watching our show, you will know that I'm a big fan of seat design, because you know what, when you drive, you spend a lot of time in the car. So for me, aesthetics on the outside matter, of course, but they do not matter to such an extent that it's going to be a deal breaker or something like that. But I really, really want my interiors to be on point. And in that regard, Honda has done a pretty decent job with the space, first of all. And reversing, oh yes, now that we are reversing, I must say that the quality of camera that Honda has, that leaves a lot to be desired. Yeah, coming back to space, immense amount of space, acres of room. And even tallish people like me will not really find it hard to sit one behind the other. So a tall person sitting in the front and a similarly heighted person at the back, no problem at all. In fact, the seat design, as I said, is amazing. I've been driving the automatic and the manual for quite a while now, and I've never really faced any problem with the bolstering or the support. The seat back is very nice, very nicely cushioned, appropriately so. The seat base is also very accommodating. And to then give you a little bit more premium feel, as is becoming the norm in this segment and the game is being moved forward, you have a sunroof. So when the City first came out in the late 90s, 1998, that generation, the first generation City that we got in India, that is, was absolutely brilliant. It was a driver's car. There is still no generation of City that has been able to match the original. Unfortunately, with even this one, the game hasn't been moved towards performance at all. It's more about convenience and comfort and in-town drivability. Doing all that, this car is absolutely fine. There is no problem at all. The clutch is light, the engine naturally aspirated 1.5 liters, now with a dual overhead cam format. So there you have a little bit more performance, bit more flexibility, but at the same time, that spark and that magic of the original is still missing. Essentially, you will have to be a maniac to exploit the engine and really get some fun out of the car. But what really helps is that the engine is very, very eager. It revs very freely all the way to the red line. And we were doing some performance runs 0 to 100. The City manages that mark in about 10.5 seconds. Between that, it all depends on how fast you move through the gearbox. Decent on performance, 120 odd bhp, 145 Newton meter. So petrol is a manageable one because it's also lighter. We have not really driven the diesel yet, but I'm not really all that keen because now in this segment at least, petrols are making a comeback, and especially with the diesel prices at whatever insane levels they are, at least in the current climate, people are moving towards petrol. And also the emission norms. You know, the BS6 has made a lot of people shift towards petrols. Now you see me driving the manual over here, and I am constantly working the gearbox, despite the fact that, you know what, I can just throw it in third gear or fourth gear and just keep on going. But yeah, I really like this gearbox, so I'm constantly shifting. I drove the CVT, the automatic that the Honda City has, and that was a mixed bag. The CVT itself has improved quite a lot over the generations, but it still has that weird feel to it. The rubber band effect or the elasticity that you get between the engine revs and the actual momentum gain, that has been eliminated to a great extent, and I'm not making this up. But this CVT, the Honda CVT, it has 7 steps now. So, you know, you go from one step to the other, you can play around with the paddles. And I did. I put it in D, I put it in the sport mode. So the sport mode is basically just to hold the revs a little bit higher. But I found it very odd that when you're in D mode, and you work the gearbox with the paddles, it just shifts automatically into a higher gear when you just modulating the throttle, not really going hell for leather. And it shifts on its own within, I timed it at about 2.3 seconds, but you know, the reaction time could be here and there, so 2 seconds. And when you are shifting through the paddles, when you select the gears through the paddles, you want to have that control. And it's very odd that the gearbox shifts automatically within a fraction of time. This is something that I did not like. Also, the CVT, while upshifting, felt slightly jerky. I'm not going to say that it is something that is going to spoil the entire experience. And while a lot of people are not even going to notice, I did not expect a CVT gearbox to give me a little jerky feeling. What I love is the brake feel, the pedal feel is amazing. The brake bite point is also very nice. It does not take you by surprise. It comes in a very progressive, very linear manner. So braking is extremely nice, very sorted. Did have a little bit of nervousness from the ABS under really hard braking, but then we were doing performance evaluation. So, you know, I'm just going to ignore that. Under normal conditions, it did not really do anything which would upset you at all. Steering, as I said, the wheel itself is very nice to hold, but there is not a lot of feel through the whole system. Having said that, it is not a steering system that is lazy. It is very nice, very communicative, and it changes directions very nicely. So really, how does this generation of the City drive, the latest one? Well, it shares a platform with the previous generation model, as I said in the starting, but there are a few nuances that make it behave in a different way. For example, the suspension, the way the entire setup is calibrated. So the front is basically a McPherson strut with coils, and the rear is a torsion beam setup. This one is very interesting. It dives very nicely into any bump or any undulation, and it does not return back with a vengeance. No. So the coils really take a great impact, and then it all boils down to the way the return is on damping. And that is set up in a very nice way. We have done it on slow speeds, we have done it at high speeds. The nature does not really change all that much. So the compression is nice and the return is even better. So if you're really pinning it on the road and there are some wavy surfaces that you encounter, don't really worry about the car really, taking off upon return. That's probably not going to happen. And that is a great thing that gives you a lot of confidence in the car. It's not a driver's car as such, but at least this element really gives you the confidence to place the car in a nice way. And it sticks to the road. That's not a problem, especially because now this generation of the City, it has 185 section tires versus the 175 that the previous generation model used to come on. So you have slightly wider footprint as well. City feels like a very grown-up car now. It's very well built. It's got okay quality. In fact, I had always complained about the quality of the cabin on the previous generation car, and this one is much, much better. Big on space, really, really big on space. Very good seats, decent ride quality, comfortable handling. I'm not really going to say that the City is engaging to drive. It's a comfortable handling car, something that is not really going to give you a lot of headache. And the engine, it's been a bulletproof engine. It's done its job very well in the past. And with this DOHC layout, I'm pretty sure it's going to do the job for ages to come. What you're looking at is a bracket of 11 to 15 with the new City. And as I said, the previous generation City is going to continue. So you have the option of going really cheap with the last generation model and looking at sub 10 lakh rupee price bracket, or upgrading to something that looks like a Civic from the front and has a little more mature feel to it.